as a business owner, you can't do everything. You can't know everything. It's really just not possible. One of the, I think, most important lessons I've learned since I've started my own business is how much you have to be willing to accept help and ask for help and, seek out people who know more than you and are better at things than you, right? So leveraging other people's talents. So for me, I knew nothing about taxes. And if I'm being honest, I don't care to know anything about taxes, right?
Not many
But
people do,
I
yeah.
care, yeah, but I care about how taxes affect my business, right? And affect the amount of money that's in my bank account, the amount of money that I earn, right? So you reached out to me through LinkedIn. It was LinkedIn, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's been a little
Or
while.
yeah, I'm not I actually don't exactly remember. But my experience was fantastic. So I think one of the key things. So one, I ended up saving. You got me a lot more savings than I expected. So I think I was expecting to pay something like $10,000 in taxes. That's what I expected anyway. And after hiring you, we're looking at paying $2,000 to $4,000 in taxes this year. That's huge savings by itself. That's you know, we've talked a little bit about outsourcing and VAs and that kind of thing. $5,000 pays for a full-time employee in the Philippines for a year.
Wow.
So, you can do a lot with 40 extra hours a week of manpower, right? You can
Hmm.
return a lot more than $5,000 even if you're shooting in the dark, right? You could do that. So that was great. But also, I think one of the value adds that I got from it was thinking more along the lines of a business owner, right? Thinking less as an employee, as somebody who's trading my time and energy for money, and more as somebody who's kind of building the system that generates money for myself,
Mm.
right? And so if if our actions and the things that we have in our life come from our minds first, then changes in mindset are going to be the most valuable things that you can gain as long as they're positive.
Dude, that's it. I don't know if that was a quote from somebody, but if it's not, it better be that. That's so true, man. It is. You're so right. And that's what it takes. It takes. We got to go through the nitty gritty of the tax plan and finding the savings. But you're right. The value that I give people is not. It's not just the 5,000 in savings or whatever it is. So you can hire a VA in the Philippines so you can only work maybe 10 hours in your business instead of 40. Right. That's valuable. But it's like, man, if we can change the mindset, right? Because I mean, we're going to be in business. You and I are going to be in business for the next 30, 40 years. So and so if we can think about how we handle our finances and money differently, that's the power. And the 5, 10,000 in savings, that's just a bonus. And so yeah, man, I love it.
But
Cool, cool. And if someone were kind of listening to this right now and maybe just they wanted to do it, but and like you had some reservations, like, oh, I just met this guy, some of those things, like if kind of thinking back to where you were at before you really kind of made that decision, what would you tell somebody that's kind of on the fence?
yeah, so I totally get where they'd be coming from because it is a fair amount of money
Hmm.
for um, something that you can't really touch or anything, right?
Hmm.
So for me, it really came down to a very simple math equation, right? The money I paid you was much less than the amount of money that you saved me. So if you can save me more than I pay you, then I come out ahead as opposed to what I would be doing by myself. So it's really that simple. Um, so yeah, it doesn't
It's
really have
not,
to go
yeah,
further than
it's
that.
right. Yeah. Yeah. That's it, man. Simple math. Right. And the great thing is the way we set everything up, you just pay it once. And then next year you get that savings. There's no tax, I've worked a long time to design something that would do that. And we're still tweaking it, but we've got it mostly built. So cool, man. So, and my favorite part about working together was you were not in Austin, Texas, where you live right now. You were maybe somewhere else. So yeah, fill us in on kind of where you were at and where you were living, and tell us that story a little bit.
Yeah, so one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to start my own company is that I wanted to find a way to achieve total location independence, right?
Mm,
So you hear about this in books all the time, like the 4 Hour Work Week is probably the most famous one that talks about it. But basically, I wanted to start a business that would pay me a good living to live wherever I wanted.
mm,
And so I achieved that with this business, which has been fantastic. And so when we were actually going through the tax planning, strategy and doing all the actual work, I was in Medellin, Colombia, which if you ever get a chance to go there, it's fantastic. I had a great time. It's a beautiful country,